Media
The following program is paid for by the Charlie Butler team. Looking for tips on selling your home? Tune into the Charlie Butler Show right here on WGBF AM every Sunday at 9 a.m. The Charlie Butler Show, where your questions get answers. Charlie guarantees it.
Good Sunday morning, Tri-State. This is the Charlie Butler Real Estate Show. I'm still Charlie Butler, as I have been on here for 8 years. It's always me. Anyway, we got a good lineup today. We got a couple good shows. And to my left, as always, is the district manager from Churchill Mortgage, is David Crow. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great Sunday morning.
And over here in the corner paying no attention to us is Candace DeArmond, who is typing furiously on her phone. She's trying to make money, I know. And we're just giving her a hard time. What's that? How come your hair's creased? I see a crease in your hair.
Well, because it's been a really busy morning, Charlie.
Has it been a busy morning?
I thought Charlie said grease,
yes.
Like she had greasy hair.
I'm surprised he didn't. I'm surprised he didn't.
Get my bifocals out.
No. Candace gets upset about creases in her hair. So. Good morning, Candace.
Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Candace.
And also one of our sometimes co-hosts, Mindy's kind of, for those of you old enough to remember Johnny Carson, Mindy's kind of like our David Letterman. She fills in for Johnny.
I just show up. They're like, hey, you want to come in here? Sure.
She always has great stories.
She does.
She does have some good stories.
So good morning, Mindy.
Good morning.
And Mindy is the foreclosure expert for the Charlie Butler team. And not just the Charlie Butler team. I consider the foremost expert on foreclosures in this market, actually.
Thank you.
And so, David, tell us some good news here.
Man, I've seen different folks over the years have the good news phone, the good news whatever, when they're doing speeches and presentations. But we do have good news. I mean, rates are improving.
Right.
And
they're should go down more in September.
They definitely should go down more. September 18th is the day in which they believe Federal Reserve will make the official cut. At the time right now, everyone's speculating, but at the time, we don't know if we're looking at 25 basis points, 50 basis points. I believe it should be 75 basis points and help drive rates down. And I have reasons for making that comment.
I think it should be 200 basis points,
yes.
but nobody's going to listen.
Yes. So the reality is we received good news last week from the feds. The Jackson Hole meeting, Jerome Powell made the speech on Friday, said all the things we need to. But the one thing that I have talked about on this show, and I actually put on Facebook and shared out, is the Bureau of Labor and Statistics jobs reports over the last few months. And I have stated they are overstated, they're false, they're inaccurate, they're wrong, and I've given reasons. And finally last week, as Jerome was going into the meeting, BLS announced, you know what, we were wrong. From April 1st of 2023 through March 31st of 2024, we overstated 818,000 jobs created in America, which in job creation, that was 1/3 of the jobs created. And they were wrong. Those jobs never occurred, which really drives up the unemployment rate. For the world of interest rates, bad news equals good news when it comes to help driving interest rates down. So that information hit last week, and we are seeing rates move down, which is great for everyone. Refinances have picked up, and I know that shopper activity in the real estate market is picking up as people look to say, hey, where am I? What can I do? And so those will continue to improve. And I think it will continue to improve all through the end of 2024. So all that is great news for the public.
That is great news. So I think we're going to continue to see if we get more inventory.
There's our challenge.
There's the real challenge right there. We were talking off air, the home builder stocks, the D.R. Hortons, the Toll Brothers, people like that, they're going crazy.
Oh.
Because
Yes.
they know what this interest rate cut will do for them.
It'll drive buyer with limited standing inventory in each of the markets across the nation. Builders become the big outlet for people, and the builders become the big outlet also for the second and third time home move up home buyers.
Yes.
So they end up building a new home moving forward, which now creates a home on the market for that first time buyer or first time move up buyer. And that's what we need is for, so builders are doing great nationwide and will continue to do great. And as rates come down, it will only help fuel them in terms of incentives many of them will place on their homes as they put them up for sale. So hopefully that'll get the market moving with inventory for those first time move up buyers to start really getting in the marketplace.
So, Candace, are you seeing, as you talk to people, are you seeing much, with interest rates coming down a little bit, is that helping much?
I'm seeing a little more movement with interest rates coming down. I'm definitely getting some calls from some people that have been on the fence, and now they're saying, oh, we're seeing interest rates move a little bit, and, go ahead and start sending us things again. And,
right.
So that is, that's an improvement.
So you're thinking, say, the next quarter should be good then. With interest rates, it would say they come down another 0.5% roughly in September.
Yep. I think that's definitely going to make a difference.
Okay.
So I have a couple of clients that they've just been waiting for that to happen. So.
Well, and I shouldn't say this, but it's true. I mean, it's people, a lot of people, I'm not saying everybody, they really don't care what the price is of the house or the kind of like buying a car. They don't care as long they care what the payment is.
Yeah.
Charlie, I joke and say my previous life, it really, honestly, with us as Americans, it really comes down to two things: how much down and how much a month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And the average, honest to God, it's the analytical personalities. I always call them the owls, the analytics. They get deeper into it, but the vast majority of Americans, based on 20 plus years of experience, how much down and how much a month. Well, I'll worry about the other stuff down the road later and so forth.
Well, you were with Jago Holmes for many years, and let's face it. I mean, and this is take my hat off to him. I admit Jago was a master of that.
Amen.
Yeah.
I mean, love them, like them, hate them, whatever. The reality was that's where the vast majority of buyers who are and lookers who walk through the door, how much down, how much a month.
Yeah.
And they were ready to move. And now I will say a positive on that. Data just came out this week. Homeowners across the nation have 40% greater net worth than renters.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Absolutely. So home ownership, whatever it takes to get into being a homeowner across the nation, the long-term plan is, and the numbers are showing, homeowners have 40% greater net worth than renters.
Well,
so you always want to be trying to buy a home.
You just made me some data I saw this week. I'm going to ask all you to comment on this. Because it does affect everybody, except Mindy, who just throws people out. But,
we're going to get to that in a moment.
Yeah, we'll be there. But 86% of the people who rent don't think they can buy a home.
I would say that's true. I mean, I have friends who rent, and we've had those conversations, and they don't think it's possible. They think that somehow they're going to pay a whole lot more than they're paying for rent currently. Yeah. And if you sit down with them and talk about the numbers, they're going to save a whole lot of money. I look at the apartments near where I live, and it's ridiculous what people are paying.
Those ones down the road in Newburgh from
behind the Walmart.
Mindy and I live about a mile apart from each other.
I mean, it's 1.5 to 2 times more than my house payment.
Yeah. So we had a girl on the team. She moved to Oklahoma, and she was paying over $1,000.
It was $1,800 a month.
I didn't remember
because she had a 3-2.
That's right.
Apartment, not a house.
An apartment.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think, Candace? You think it's accurate?
She was paying that for a house.
You think that's
I think
accurate?
that's absolutely accurate. I've actually had people call the team phone asking for, they don't realize that it's for sale. They think they're calling about rent. And I've converted them into buyers because they had no idea that that was even a possibility for them. So,
I think one of the places that we make mistakes, and I hear it, not just from our team, but other people, is they say, well, we told them to call, and we're going to use you as an example, David. We told them to call David Crow at Churchill, but you don't tell them you tell them David's going to call you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because people are horrible, especially ones that don't think they can because they don't want to hear no.
Right.
Wait a minute. It's we'll take it just a little deeper. It's not that I want to hear no. They have a strong fear of rejection. That's it's the same thing, but it's
I know what you're saying.
It's
You're right.
I'll give him a call. Yeah, that's right. But we don't know what's going on behind their eyes or between their ears.
Right.
And they're thinking, oh, he's just going to give me bad news, and I don't even want to hear it. And they just don't act.
Your success rate is so much higher when you say, "Can I have David Crow call you?"
Amen.
Yeah.
I just call them, and then they'll tell me, well, this is what I'm concerned with. This is what I'm a little concerned. And okay, we'll find out for certain. That's the first thing. And then at least then, let's say it is bad. I give them a game plan. That game plan could be 30 days. It could be 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year. But now they have a plan, and they have an anticipated mortgage payment based on a sales price. And people, once they can see that light at the end of the tunnel, they'll work towards that. Most will. Not all.
Well, you have to, it's like becoming vulnerable. So you have to call someone you don't know.
True.
And basically divulge your entire financial history to them.
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't comfortable. They were never taught that that's okay to do. Or, like, I need to tell you this in order to get to my end goal. It's like, oh, I don't want to talk about that.
Or they've had some bumps and bruises along the way, and people want to hide that. They're embarrassed about that for some reason. Well, everyone has hit
Everybody has.
financial bumps and bruises.
Everybody.
And I think I am very upfront with clients whenever, that kind of comes out to me. I'm like, hey, look, I have been there. I have been in a spot where I was real behind on some stuff, and I had to improve my credit score. I had to do a lot of legwork, and I did it, and it wasn't as big of a deal because I also was afraid to buy a home forever. I didn't realize, I thought, oh, I don't know what to do. I had this credit card over here that I got behind on, and yes, I paid it off, but I know that put a ding on my credit score, and it just seemed so overwhelming to me. And so I'm and I was embarrassed. I didn't want to talk to a stranger and say, well, I didn't pay my bills a couple of years ago.
To talk to.
Yeah.
That's true, because they don't really, and if you're doing it over the phone, you can't see their face.
Yeah.
So you can't gauge what the reaction's going to be by looking them in the eye.
I had an investor that was selling a house to a girl on contract many years ago. And we start talking, and he happened to also be a mortgage broker. And he says, have you applied in it? He said, I'm glad to talk to you on contract. She had a nice down payment. Everything was.
I was going to say, if she's buying on contract, she had to put some cash in the deal.
Everything was good. And as we talked, he said, have you had anybody, just check? And she said, I can't. She said, there was a credit card I've got. I was 30 days late on 3 years ago. And 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
And people think that. And so he said, I'm not going to do it because I think it's conflict for me, to do it. But he said, have Charlie recommend somebody. Jim Maurer was at Wells Fargo.
Yep.
And and we all know Jim.
Oh, yeah.
And I recommended her to Jim, sail right through.
Oh.
Yeah. Easy deal.
Yeah.
Going back to your original question, 86% of people renters don't believe they can buy.
Yeah.
And the reality is, and we've talked about it on the past, and we chuckle, but National Association of Realtors, the Mortgage Bankers Association. It's an astronomical percentage of Americans who still believe you have to have 20% down payment in order to buy a home. And if they only understood either cash, people pay 100% cash, investors, people. But when you get to 20% down, how small a percentage that is across the nation of people who put 20 versus, I mean, let's be honest, guys, 5% on a conventional loan. I've done 3% conventional. FHA 3.5%, and then you get into VA and USDA, which are all 0% down payment. But the vast number of renters and people in our nation, with all the technology, as our producer Jordan plays on his phone right now, looking up very important stuff, it's at their fingertips, and they still believe, I can't buy. I don't have 20% down.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wish the vast majority of my borrowers had 20,
down.
and it's not the case.
No,
you get one, and you're like, wow.
Yes,
yeah. It's just
well, they think you got to have an 800 credit score,
right?
Yeah,
and a whole lot of money in the bank.
And I'm like,
unless you don't even need to. It's like Chris Combs and I were talking here a while back when the 3-2-1.
Yeah,
I said, Chris, we've got some things listed for him, and I said, why don't we do the 3-2-1 buy down? And I said, this would be great. He said, it has no effect on me.
No, not at his price point.
He said it's either cash or a major down payment. Mindy and I have I bet we have a short. I bet you've never done this. Okay. we got an investor, a pretty big investor. He bought Donnie Denton's parade home, and he said, "Hey, I've got a lot of money out there now." He said, I got a couple of things closing. He said, I need to just put about $300,000-400,000 down, and then get a 30-day mortgage.
30-day mortgage.
30-day mortgage.
That's when I tell them you go to your local bank.
Yeah.
Because every mortgage broker out there is going to say, we don't do 30-day mortgages.
Yeah.
Okay.
Old National did.
Yeah, exactly. Local bank. That's it. Basically, it's walk in, get a signature loan. They drop the money, and he pays it right back. Yes. There's not a national lender or somebody like me. When somebody says 30 days, or like, that's why local banks exist. That's exactly. Walk in, get it, and then give it right back to them.
Needless to say, it sailed right through.
Yes. 30 days.
You're like, oh, sir, go right ahead.
Yes.
Right.
There is a, and I, again, won't mention names, but someone you know well. And and so there's a big tip right there. But I've sold them a couple subdivisions, ground for a couple subdivisions. And the bank that does it, they never ask any questions except how much do they need.
Yep.
And that's it. I mean, they said, okay, we'll let you know when it's going to close. That's the extent.
Yep. So no, that's what local banks and their circumstances. I send people, they're wanting to buy something very inexpensive. It's in, complete disarray, one of Mindy's houses. And and I just say,
what do you mean?
For a very small amount, and then they're going to rehab, renovate, all those things.
Oh, they're not doing Mindy's house for a small amount, I'll tell you that.
No. And so there are circumstances, I just tell them, this is why local banks exist. Local bank, local area, local risk. And that's why. And then I tell them, when you get it finished, sometimes they're going to maybe investment, but I tell people when I can help them and I know it's a benefit, and I'm quick to say, in this circumstance, go to a local bank.
Right.
Well, that's the last time I give you anybody that puts $100,000 down, David. So there.
Oh, that is true. Yes.
So, nah.
Yeah, that is true.
Oh, trust me, that was one of those we were like, OMG, because this doesn't happen.
Yep. So, yes, Mindy referred me to somebody that says, you didn't give David a call. And then I told Mindy later, there's no problem. She's putting $100,000 down.
Wow.
Okay. So,
I'd say my strangest from money-wise is I was selling a triplex for a client Mindy knows well.
I'm pretty sure I know what triplex it is, too.
Out on the northwest side, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Yeah.
And anyway, so he decided he wanted to sell it. And I don't remember. It's years ago before prices ran way up, 120, 130,000, something like that. And so guy calls me, wants to see it. And we had 1 unit vacant. I said, well, I've got 1 unit vacant. I said, I can show you that without an appointment. I said, you know what? He said, okay, that's fine. And so and I'd never had this happen before and haven't had it happen since. He comes in, he looks at it, and he was driving a club cab pickup. Had a lot of stuff in it. He goes out there. He says, yeah, he said, I think I'll take it. Great, I'll get a purchase agreement, write it up. I go to the purchase agreement. He goes to his truck, pulls out a paper sack, and starts counting out 130 grand. And
as we started, said, whoa.
And the owner was there doing some work. And Mindy knows the owner, who's a little on the rough side.
Just a little bit, yeah.
And the next thing I did just about freaked him out. I said, whoa, I said, I can't take that. He goes, and the owner's coming in now. Why not? He said, yeah, we'll take it.
I'll take it anytime. Yeah. What do you mean?
I said, no. I said, if you want to put like $5,000 down for earnest money, put that in the bank.
Yep.
Let it,
Yep.
And actually, him having the cash, anybody is there anybody out there doing this? Need to remember this. It actually slowed things down.
Amen.
Yeah, because the bank, it had to seize the bank. Yeah.
Yep. And title, everybody has to source these funds because it's all towards making sure illegal funds do not enter the real estate industry, if you will. And it goes all the way back. And I've told people, Twin Towers coming down in New York, the Great Recession, those things triggered lending laws, closing laws, title, sourcing funds, and making sure, and I take it all the way back to terrorism. That's where the source is. And then you have drug cartels and things of that nature. So, yes, walking in with a bag of cash saying, I'll take it today, here's the money. It does not work that way in the U.S. I'm sorry.
My understanding is, that's what the guy told me, and I believe him. He seemed like he'd sold a strip club in Texas.
I mean,
I love it.
Well,
see, that reminds me of a closing that I had. Now, it was a cash deal, and I don't know why this guy had to bring additional funds. I don't even remember. And we were sitting at the closing table, and he had this like sport coat thing on, and he just pulls this wad of money and throws it on the table with all this change. And I was like, I don't think you can do that.
Yep.
Mindy, you probably remember this, that this same kind of rough investor who has is very wealthy. Okay?
Yeah.
And anyway, he, I don't know why we did. Oh, we had earnest money on one of his deals, and it came in, it was cash. Remember, and this is before the laws really changed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like when we had to make copies of it.
Copies of the bills.
So I had to fan it out on the copy machine with the coins.
Yes, I have done that before. I know what you're talking about. Like I said, folks, listen, this doesn't happen today.
No.
Charlie and I were talking about several years ago. Yeah. But yes, I have put cash on the photocopier.
Put those $100 bills.
Yes, and stack them out there.
Yeah.
I've never done that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well,
I did have the guy one time try and hand me money in the middle of the street in a neighborhood where
don't be flashing cash.
There might have been hookers, and I was afraid people were going to think I was right. I mean,
what is happening?
I was like, oh, no.
That neighborhood, it was normal to hand women cash.
I was completely, and it was like 7 p.m., so just starting to get dark, and I was like, oh, no, I'm going to need a check. And nobody saw that because I am not taking cash.
I can't believe I'm negotiating in the middle of the street.
Right. It was that kind of deal.
Oh, we haven't even talked about the sponsors. Well, this sponsor's talked enough already. So
hey, Norm will be mad.
I'm kidding. So Charlie Butler Show is brought to you by Churchill Mortgage. And of course, David Crow, who you've been hearing, is the area district manager, and it could be Kentucky or Indiana, either one. David covers both areas, and you can wherever they can give you a call. Where can they call you at, David?
Folks, the easiest way to get a hold of me is cell phone. All of us in this industry, it's always cell phone, 270-222-0676. And Charlie, you're right. I do Kentucky, Indiana, and actually do Florida. Right. And earlier this morning, believe it or not, I had a gentleman call me and wanted to get approved with me. And then he finally fessed up that he's moving out of Kentucky to the state of Ohio. Mm-hmm. So I, in that situation, had to refer him back to someone in Brentwood, Tennessee, who's licensed in Ohio.
Right.
But yeah, Kentucky, Indiana, give me a call. Happy to help you get it pre-approved. Go look at those homes.
Yep.
And yeah, and speaking of Brentwood, those of you that are regular listeners of the Dave Ramsey Show, who was on right before us for 25 years plus, Dave has endorsed Churchill Mortgage.
Yep.
And they're on every one of his shows. So the number you hear there, you'll get good folks, but it's not this. If you want local service, call David.
Give me a call, folks.
Yeah. And also brought to you by Bossy Title. And one of the officers there was quite excited here. He was all over Facebook. And
National Dog Day.
National Dog Day. That's Norm, the CFO, who's the chief Frenchie officer. Bossy Title.
Claire Kincaid.
We just had a closing together on Friday. Claire did a wonderful job.
Claire does.
She still was a little mad at you for putting her on the spot. And
Yeah. Oh, yes.
no, they're great.
Claire Kincaid and Kelly Norton, and there are several others there that do a great job and great back office. And if they need something seriously, they can wake Jeff Bossy up and he'll help. No, it's,
I can say Jeff just recently I had a deal and Jeff stepped in and he really helped out a whole lot.
Yes,
so
he does. He really does. Yeah.
We just tease.
We like to tease Jeff, but he does a great job. So call the good folks at Bossy Title for all your title needs, your real estate needs. Jordan says we got 2 minutes left. Mindy, you got a good foreclosure story I know you're coming back next week.
We like these.
So I went into one a couple of weeks ago, and first of all, I am met at the back door. Now the house is on a corner, so I'm met at the back door with all the trash just coming out of the back door. It's like, oh, fantastic. So I opened the door, which was like the side door, but the front, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And there's a table of rotting fruit. Oh. Like there's a bag of apples and some oranges. And
you don't want to go into great detail. Candace's stomach, yesterday.
And a whole bunch of gnats.
I'm still not feeling real great. Come on. Move on to the rest of the gross stuff.
I mean, there was a deep freezer. There was trash that was left. I mean, the smell
and I'm
was
assuming
atrocious.
The power was off, too.
It was. It was. But they magically had a tanning bed in the primary bedroom. So, it's what's important to you.
Right. I mean, at least when she walked out of the house, she looked good.
I mean, hey, man, I got that tan going on. I haven't thrown my trash out in 2 years.
Nobody knows about my rotting food.
I look good.
Yeah. I got the creases out of my hair.
Right. No creases or nothing.
Good.
And there was so much stuff upstairs that I had to stand on a bed spring, like a mattress spring, just to take pictures because it's like there were random bottles of stuff on the floor. Yeah, full bottles of, because there was a nice sign on the bathroom that says "broken, do not use."
Yeah.
Nice.
Bottles with that in there. God.
Those kind of bottles.
I thought it was like alcohol bottles or something. It was
looks like tea.
gross.
Oh, thanks, Mindy. I'm sitting here with a tea.
Yeah.
Cheers, Charlie.
One more sip, Charlie.
So, for Candace DeArmond, David Crow, Mindy Woodward, and this is Charlie Butler. Have a great Sunday.
You've got real estate questions but don't know where to get the answers? Tune in here every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. as Charlie Butler, Evansville's own real estate expert, shares the latest news, info, and insider tips to help you make smart real estate decisions. Find him online at charliebutlerteam.com. This program has been paid for by the Charlie Butler team. From the Kate Foppel Ford Studios, this is News Talk 1280 WGBF.